So I've just decided to do a talking video, and I hope you can hear me through all the foolishness that I'm doing and rustling around in the background. But yeah, so I'm starting a YouTube channel, and with the YouTube channel I'm kind of in two minds as to how to play it, or I could do a mixture of things. So there's going to be a lot of self-development and self-improvement on there. Obviously I've been having therapy, which I've mentioned a few times, and I found quite a lot of really useful self-discovery through it. So I want to include some of that. I want to also provide some meditation as well, because I feel like it's something that we're not able to do enough of sometimes, or we don't feel like we're able to do enough, and it's something that's completely fresh for so many people. I think it would be quite useful to provide that as something that you can get useful from the channel, as well as some interviews with my clients and some people who I've worked with who can give really nice insight into the fitness industry. So yeah, those are some things I'm going to be doing, putting those forward on my YouTube. Currently I've got one episode up there at the moment. The main thing that I'm finding hard is the editing. So I've had an editor that I was using, and then I just completely got rid of them because they just weren't, just like, I've asked you and then you have to ask them like 3 days later and they're still like, oh yeah, sorry, I've done it, and you're like, no, that's not the energy that we need. So I've just been editing a lot of stuff myself recently, and I'm like, that's quite good, but then it's also quite time consuming, and it just means that things aren't ready in time for them to go out when I would like. So I do probably need to find an editor, but for the time being I prefer to edit it myself and get it out. So that's what it's mainly going to consist of with the YouTube channel. Let me just turn that on. I've just put it on, I've just not done anything. Turn that on. And then yeah, I think with the therapy stuff, I think there's a lot in there that it opens up a lot of truths, and it helps you to understand why you feel the way that you do, and to recognize the patterns in your brain. And I went initially for anxiety and not feeling like I had any sense of control at all at certain points, but it would be very rare points, so it wouldn't be something that was happening too frequently, which is why I didn't obviously feel the need to get some help before then. But yeah, the truths are interesting because they help you to see the patterns, and with the patterns you can see obviously the frequency at which things are happening, and it kind of makes you think like, well, of course I feel like that, of course this has happened, and this is how I'm responding. And with the ability to see the patterns, you have a sense of control as to be able to change the course of the future. If you can recognize the patterns going on in your brain, you don't behave in the same way. And that's what I've found to be really, really, really great in terms of my development over the last few months. So it would be nice to speak a bit more about that, I think, and to kind of release a bit of stigma. I think with my generation, and the generations beyond, I feel like there's not too much of a stigma, but I feel like the older generations do have a bit of a stigma. Some of them do have a stigma with therapy, like, oh, but everybody could do with speaking to people, especially if they have something quite stressful going on in their lives, because it's like, well, if you're not offloading that to somebody or in some way, then it manifests in the body and it makes you unwell, which we all know. So like one of the things that my therapist said to me recently was that, so cliche, isn't it? Well, my therapist said was that when you feel unease in the body and you don't release it, it causes dis-ease within the body, right? Or unease in the body, which then leads to disease, because your body is holding on to this stress that's manifested from not being able to release it. And so it all kind of, I know some people don't really believe in that, but actually it is like, stress is a really powerful thing, and if you don't have a way to offset it, or a way to at least understand it and confront it, then it can lead to so many different horrible outcomes. So I think the meditation will really help with that, an insight into my therapy and the therapy that I had previously, actually. But the meditations will be quite short, quite concise, and I'll have different ones for different events or for different times of the day. Some guided, some breath work, and then some that are a little bit more visual, just so that everyone can try different things out and that you can see how practical it is, because they don't all have to be airy fairy. Think of being here, or your water. It doesn't have to all be like that. It can be very, very practical for the moment that is. Like, if you're anxious about something that's happening imminently, you could perform a meditation, and then that releases some of that anxiety. So I think that is going to be something that I'm definitely going to do. But yeah, this is going to go up as I guess like a mini episode, I think, now, after all that blabbering on. But stay tuned on the channel, and I hope you enjoy it. There's going to be lots of episodes, lots of insightful things, different people, different outlooks, and then you can take what you want from it. One of my mentors actually says, treat it like spare ribs, take the meat, throw away the bone. So you can take what you want from it. Not everything is going to be for everyone, but you take what you want from it that's useful to you, and you can move forward with what you've learned.